Space Smokies, we joined you together as husband and wife.
Your ex is in the delivery room.
What?
What are you doing? Come back here now!
The minister's voice echoes across 300 guests seated in a garden that costs more than most people earn in a lifetime. Do you, Grayson Alexander Mercer, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? What's up, family? This is Mr. Daniel here, and I'm back with another one. You know the vibes. Original story, written by me, just for you. White Roses from Ecuador perfume the June air. A string orchestra from Vienna holds their bows suspended, waiting for two words that will seal a $30 billion merger disguised as a marriage. Penelope Ashworth stands before him in a gown that made the cover of Vogue, her smile perfect, her eyes expecting. Grayson opens his mouth. His phone vibrates against his chest like a second heartbeat. He ignores it. The vibration comes again, and again, and again. Sterling, his best man, leans close. His whisper cuts through the garden's manufactured perfection. It's a hospital in Newark. They say it's life or death. Someone named Shanice Dupree. The name hits the air like a bullet through glass. 300 guests hold their breath. The orchestra freezes. Penelope's perfect smile cracks at the edges. Who is Shanice? Her voice carries across the first 3 rows. Eugenia Mercer, seated in the front with her Chanel suit and her satisfied smile, rises slightly from her chair. But Grayson is already pulling the phone from his pocket. His hands shake. His billion-dollar composure crumbles in front of everyone who matters in American high society. The nurse's voice trembles through the speaker. Mr. Mercer, your ex-wife Shanice Dupree listed you as her emergency contact. She's in active labor with twins, but there have been severe complications. She's hemorrhaging badly. We need to perform an emergency cesarean immediately. A pause. She keeps saying your name, sir. She keeps asking for you. Twins. His twins. The word detonates in his skull. Grayson looks at Penelope, looks at his mother's triumphant smile turning to confusion, looks at the $2 million garden, the imported roses, the Vienna musicians, the 300 witnesses to his perfect hollow life. I'm sorry. His voice sounds foreign to his own ears. I have to go. My children are being born. He runs. Down the aisle. Past the gasping socialites. Past his mother's scream cutting through the garden like a blade. Past the life everyone expected him to choose. His Italian leather shoes tear through manicured grass. His Armani tuxedo jacket flies behind him. He doesn't look back. If you've ever watched someone throw away everything they're supposed to want for something they actually need, you already know this feeling. That moment when the mask finally cracks and the real person underneath comes gasping to the surface. But here's what makes this story different from every other runaway groom tale you've ever heard. When Grayson Mercer bursts into that Newark hospital room 2 hours later, he won't just find the woman he destroyed 3 years ago. He won't just meet the children she's been hiding from him. He'll find another man sitting beside her bed, holding her hand. And that man will be holding a document that proves Grayson's own mother is a murderer. If you're not subscribed yet, now is the time. Because what happens next will make you question everything you think you know about love, loyalty, and the lies families tell to protect themselves. Hit that subscribe button right now. This story is about to shatter you in the best way. The Bentley's engine screams as Grayson tears through Connecticut backroads at 90 miles per hour. His phone sits in the passenger seat, the nurse's number still glowing on the screen. He should call back, should ask questions, should do something other than drive like a man possessed toward a woman he threw away like garbage 3 years ago. Twins. She was pregnant when she left. 9 months. She carried his children for 9 months and never said a word. The rage comes first, hot and self-righteous. How could she keep this from him? How could she let him stand at another woman's altar while his own babies were being born? Then the harder truth surfaces. Cold and undeniable. Why would she tell him anything? He called her a gold digger, called her a liar, called her every poisoned name his mother had been whispering for 2 years. And Shanice, too proud to beg a man who chose his family's venom over her truth, signed those divorce papers the same night. "If you can believe that about me," she said, her voice steady even as tears carved rivers down her face, "then you never knew me at all." She walked out of his penthouse with nothing but her dignity. What Grayson never knew was that she walked out carrying everything that actually mattered. The speedometer climbs past 100. In the rearview mirror, Greenwich shrinks to nothing. Just another mansion on a hill full of people who never made him feel anything real. Only she did that. Only Shanice ever made him laugh until his ribs ached. Only Shanice ever looked at his money like it was the least interesting thing about him. Only Shanice ever made him feel like Grayson the man instead of Grayson the Mercer heir. And he destroyed her because his mother told him to. The hospital parking garage swallows his car. He kills the engine and runs through the automatic doors, past the security desk, into an elevator that moves too slow, impossibly slow. A nurse intercepts him on the 4th floor. "Mr. Mercer? Where is she? Where's Shanice?" The nurse's hand closes around his arm. Her grip is gentle, but firm. "Sir, there's something you need to know before you go in there." His heart stops. "The twins are yours. She never told you." The floor tilts beneath his feet. "And there's a man in that room you need to understand isn't what you think." Room 412 smells like antiseptic and fear. Grayson stands in the doorway, his wrinkled tuxedo obscene against the clinical white walls. His breathing comes ragged. His hands won't stop shaking. Shanice lies in the hospital bed, smaller than he's ever seen her. This woman who stood toe-to-toe with his mother's venom. This woman who never flinched, never cowered, never gave an inch, even when the world treated her like she was nothing. She looks fragile now. Tubes snake from her arms. Monitors beep her heartbeat into the heavy silence. Her eyes are closed, her chest rising and falling with shallow, exhausted breaths. And sitting beside her bed, holding her hand like he has every right to be there, is Dr. Malcolm Jeffries. The same doctor Grayson's mother accused Shanice of sleeping with 3 years ago. The same man whose face appeared in those photographs. The same betrayal that shattered everything. Grayson's vision tunnels. His fists clench at his sides. Get away from her. Malcolm doesn't flinch, doesn't rise, doesn't remove his hand from Shanice's. Before you say something you'll regret, you need to see this. His other hand extends toward Grayson. In it, a single piece of paper. "Your mother paid me $200,000 to confirm an affair that never happened. I refused, so she found someone who would." The document shakes as Grayson takes it. A wire transfer receipt, Eugenia Mercer's signature at the bottom. The date stamped 3 weeks before those photographs appeared. The walls close in. That's not possible. It's not just possible. It's documented. Malcolm's voice stays calm, clinical, utterly without triumph. Every piece of evidence your mother showed you was manufactured. The photos were doctored. The witnesses were paid. The entire affair was a construction project designed to destroy your marriage. Grayson's knees threaten to buckle. He looks at Shanice, at the woman he accused of betraying him, at the woman he threw away based on lies he should have questioned. She was innocent. She was always innocent. And he was too weak, too poisoned, too desperate for his mother's approval to see it. A soft moan escapes Shanice's lips. Her eyelids flutter. She sees him. Her entire body tenses against the hospital bed. The monitors spike. Her hand pulls away from Malcolm's like she's been burned. "Why are you here?" Her voice is weak, but her walls are iron. "Go back to your wedding, Grayson. Go back to your perfect life." "Shanice, I don't want you here. Each word costs her visible effort. I didn't ask them to call you. I didn't ask for any of this. The twins, they're mine. They're mine. Her eyes flash with a fire that 3 years of hell couldn't extinguish. I carried them. I protected them. I kept them safe from your family. They're mine. They're mine. The words hit harder than any fist. She kept them safe from his family. From him. Malcolm rises slowly. I'm going to check on the babies. Give you two a moment. He pauses at the door, his eyes meeting Grayson's. Whatever you think you know about the last 3 years, you're wrong. About all of it. She almost died tonight, bringing your children into this world. Try to remember that before you make things worse. The door clicks shut. Silence fills the room like water filling a sinking ship. Shanice's eyes close. A single tear escapes down her cheek, catching the fluorescent light. You should go. I'm not going anywhere. You're good at leaving. You've had practice. The knife twists. I know what my mother did. I know the affair was a lie. Malcolm showed me. Malcolm. A bitter laugh escapes her cracked lips. Malcolm was the only person who believed me when I said I was innocent. He was the only one who didn't look at me like I was trash that wandered into the wrong zip code. She opens her eyes. The pain there goes deeper than childbirth. You didn't even let me explain. You came home with those pictures. And you just decided. Decided I was exactly what your mother always said I was. Decided 2 years of loving you meant nothing. I was wrong. You were cruel. Her voice breaks on the word. There's a difference between wrong and cruel, Grayson. Wrong is a mistake. Cruel is a choice. He has no defense, no explanation, no words that can undo what he did. So he simply stands there, absorbing each accusation like the punishment he deserves. I want to see them. His voice comes out hoarse. The twins. Please, let me see them. Shanice stares at him for a long moment. Something shifts in her expression. Not forgiveness, nothing close to forgiveness. But maybe exhaustion has worn down the edges of her rage. Down the hall. The NICU. They'll let you in. He moves toward the door. Grayson. He stops. There's more. Things you don't know. Things about your mother that go beyond fabricating an affair. His blood chills. What things? Shanice's eyes hold his. In them, he sees something that looks almost like pity. Ask her what really happened to your father. Have you ever had someone drop a bomb on your entire understanding of your life in a single sentence? The kind of words that rearrange everything you thought you knew? That's where Grayson stands right now. In a hospital doorway, wearing a ruined tuxedo, learning that his mother might be responsible for more than just destroying his marriage. Comment below and tell me what you think Eugenia did to Grayson's father. Because the truth is darker than anything you're imagining right now. The NICU hums with the soft rhythm of machines keeping tiny humans alive. Grayson stands before the glass, his reflection a ghost superimposed over 2 incubators. Inside them, wrapped in hospital blankets that seem impossibly large against their impossibly small bodies, lie his son and his daughter. His children. The word doesn't fit in his mouth, doesn't settle in his brain, keeps bouncing around his skull like a pinball searching for a slot that doesn't exist. He presses his palm against the glass. The boy's fingers curl around nothing, grasping at dreams. The girl's chest rises and falls in perfect rhythm, her tiny mouth making shapes that might become words someday. They almost grew up without him. They almost entered this world and left it without ever knowing his face, his voice, his name. Because Shanice decided he didn't deserve to know. The rage flickers again and then dies. Because she was right. The man who called her a gold digger and a liar, who chose his mother's fabricated evidence over 2 years of real love, who let her walk out of his life without even asking for an explanation that man didn't deserve to know. Tears stream down Grayson's face for the first time in 20 years. He cries silently, his body shaking against the glass, watching his children breathe without him. A nurse approaches softly. "Mr. Mercer, would you like to hold them?" He can't speak, can only nod. Minutes later, he sits in a rocking chair with his daughter nestled against his chest. Her weight is nothing, a few pounds of possibility wrapped in pink cotton. Her heartbeat flutters against his palm like a hummingbird's wings. "Hey," his voice cracks. "Hey, little one, I'm your dad. I know I'm late. I know I almost missed this, but I'm here now." He kisses her forehead. She smells like newness, like potential, like everything he almost threw away. "I'm not going anywhere, not ever again." The door opens behind him. Malcolm stands in the frame, his expression unreadable. "We need to talk about more than just the affair." Grayson doesn't look up from his daughter's face. "Shanice said something about my father." "I know." Malcolm moves into the room, taking the chair across from him. "That's what I need to explain. But first, you need to understand something about the last 3 years, about what Shanice has been through, about what your mother has been doing." Grayson finally meets his eyes. "Tell me everything." Malcolm leans forward, his voice dropping low. "Your mother didn't just destroy your marriage. She's been running a criminal enterprise through Mercer Financial for over 2 decades. Money laundering, offshore accounts, shell companies layered so deep even forensic accountants struggle to untangle them. The words don't compute. That's impossible. I would know. I'm the CEO. You see what she wants you to see. You always have." Malcolm's eyes hold no judgment, only truth. "Your father found out 6 months before he died." He started asking questions, digging into accounts he wasn't supposed to access. "He told your mother he was going to expose everything, burn down the empire rather than let it stand on a criminal foundation." Grayson's arms tighten around his daughter. 3 weeks later, Theodore Mercer died of a sudden heart attack. Convenient timing. "You're saying my mother killed my father." "I'm saying Shanice found evidence that suggests exactly that. Financial records. Payments to a pharmaceutical company that specializes in compounds that can induce cardiac arrest without leaving traces. And the largest payment was dated 3 days before your father's death." The room spins. "That's why your mother needed Shanice gone," Malcolm continues. 6 months into her pregnancy, Shanice stumbled onto the same trail your father found. She started asking questions. She confronted your mother, told her she was going to tell you everything. Malcolm pauses. 2 weeks later, those affair photographs appeared. "Your mother didn't just want to destroy your marriage, Grayson. She needed to destroy Shanice's credibility. Needed to make sure that if Shanice ever came forward with what she knew, no one would believe her." Grayson stares at the man who should be his enemy. "Why are you here? Why did you help her?" "Because I was collateral damage too." Malcolm's jaw tightens. "Your mother offered me $200,000 to say I slept with Shanice. When I refused, she tried to destroy my career. Planted complaints with the medical board, had me investigated for malpractice. That never happened." He shakes his head. "Shanice and I became friends because we were both survivors of the same war. She needed someone who believed her. I needed someone who understood what it felt like to have your life dismantled by a woman with unlimited resources and zero conscience." The baby in Grayson's arms stirs, makes a soft sound, settles back into sleep. He looks down at her face. His mother's blood runs through these veins too. His mother, who might be a murderer. His mother, who definitely destroyed the only woman he ever loved. His mother, who is probably already spinning the narrative about his wedding departure, already planning her next move, already preparing to eliminate anyone who threatens her empire. "The evidence," Grayson says slowly. "Where is it?" "Hidden. Shanice gave it to someone she trusts. An insurance policy." Malcolm stands. "She didn't want to use it. Didn't want to blow up your family, despite everything your family did to her. She just wanted to be left alone, to raise her children in peace." He moves toward the door. But your mother doesn't leave people alone. And now you're here. And she knows you're here. Which means the clock is already ticking. What clock? Malcolm's hand rests on the doorframe. Eugenia Mercer doesn't lose. She eliminates threats. Your father was a threat, and he's dead. Shanice was a threat, and she barely survived. You're about to become a threat too, Grayson. The question is whether you'll survive long enough to do something about it. The door closes behind him. Grayson sits alone in the NICU, holding his daughter, surrounded by the beeping machinery that keeps fragile lives alive. His phone buzzes. A text from his mother. Come home immediately. We need to discuss your behavior. This situation can still be contained. He stares at the message for a long moment. Then he looks at his daughter's sleeping face. Then he types 3 words and hits send. I know everything. The response comes 30 seconds later. Then you know what I'm capable of. Choose wisely, darling. What would you do if you discovered your own mother might be a killer? If the family fortune you inherited was built on secrets dark enough to destroy everything? Comment below with what you'd choose, because Grayson is about to face that choice, and there's no right answer. Shanice is awake when Grayson returns to her room. She sits propped against pillows, her natural hair pulled back from her face, exhaustion carved into every line of her features. But her eyes are alert, watchful. The eyes of a woman who learned long ago that danger wears expensive suits and speaks in polished sentences. You talked to Malcolm. I did. So now you know. He closes the door behind him, crosses the room, pulls a chair close to her bed but doesn't sit. My mother killed my father? I don't have proof that would hold up in court, but I have enough to know something happened that wasn't natural. Shanice's voice stays steady, clinical, detached. The payments to the pharmaceutical company. The timing. The way she reacted when I confronted her. You confronted her? 6 months pregnant and stupid enough to think the truth would matter. A bitter smile crosses her face. I walked into that Greenwich library and told her I knew what she did. Told her I was going to tell you everything. What did she say? She laughed. Shanice's hands clenched the hospital blanket. She actually laughed. Said no one would believe a gold digger from Newark over the grieving widow of Theodore Mercer. Said I could scream the truth from the rooftops and all anyone would see was a bitter ex-wife trying to destroy the family that rejected her. The words land like stones in water, sending ripples through everything Grayson thought he understood. Then she told me something I'll never forget. Shanice meets his eyes. She said, my son chose me over you once. He'll do it again. He always will. Because at the end of the day, blood is blood, and you're just a woman who got above her station. The silence stretches. 2 weeks later, those photographs appeared. 2 weeks after that, you came home and called me. Everything she'd been calling me for 2 years. And I realized she was right. Shanice's voice doesn't waver. You did choose her. You always would. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Her eyes flash. That's different. You had 2 years of me loving you, standing beside you, building something with you. And you threw all of it away based on a few photos and your mother's word. You didn't even let me explain. Didn't even give me a chance to defend myself. I know. Do you? Do you really? She leans forward, ignoring the pain that crosses her face. Because here's what you don't know. I could have told you about the pregnancy. After I left, after I found out, I could have picked up the phone and said, Grayson, I'm carrying your children. And you would have come crawling back. Would have begged forgiveness. Thrown money at me. Done whatever it took to be involved. Her voice drops. But I didn't want you back out of obligation. I didn't want my babies to be leverage. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life wondering if you stayed because you loved me or because I was holding your heirs hostage. She collapses back against the pillows, the outburst draining her remaining strength. So I made a choice. I chose to raise them without you. I chose to protect them from your mother, from your money, from the entire Mercer machine that chewed me up and spit me out. Grayson finally sits. I understand why you did it. I don't need you to understand. I need you to... She stops, breathes. I don't know what I need. I almost died tonight. My body is running on fumes. And you're here, in your wrinkled tuxedo, telling me you know everything, and I don't have the energy to figure out what that means. It means I'm not leaving. You don't get to decide that. You're right, I don't. You do. He leans forward, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. But I'm asking, not demanding, not buying my way in. Asking. Let me help. Let me protect you and the twins while we figure out what to do about my mother. Shanice studies him for a long moment. There's something else you should know. Her voice drops even lower. 6 months into the pregnancy, when your mother's investigators started getting close to finding me, I took money from Malcolm. Grayson's jaw tightens. $50,000 to relocate, change hospitals, disappear completely. She meets his eyes without flinching. I let another man help me hide your children from you. That's the truth. And you can be angry about it. You have the right to be angry about it. I'm not angry. You should be. Maybe. He exhales slowly. But you were surviving. You were protecting yourself and 2 babies from a woman who might have killed my father. You did what you had to do. Something shifts in Shanice's expression. The first crack in the armor. I don't trust you, Grayson. I want to be clear about that. I don't trust you, and I don't know if I ever will again. I know. But... She closes her eyes. I'm tired. I'm scared. And my children deserve a father who's willing to fight for them. My children deserve a father who's willing to fight for them. My children deserve a father who's willing to fight for them. My children deserve a father who's willing to fight for them. So, if you want to help, you can start by being here. Just being here. Without expectations. Without demands. Without any of the Mercer entitlement that made me feel small for 2 years of marriage. He nods. I can do that. We'll see. Her eyes stay closed. Her breathing deepens. But just before she drifts into sleep, she whispers something that stops his heart. She knows you're here, doesn't she? Your mother. She knows you've chosen a side. Yes. Then it's already started. Her voice fades. The war. It's already started. She's asleep before he can respond. Grayson sits in the chair beside her bed, watching the monitors track her heartbeat, listening to the hospital sounds filter through the door. His phone buzzes again. Sterling this time. Turn on any news channel. Your mother just held a press conference. It's bad, Gray. Really bad. He doesn't need to turn on the television. He already knows what Eugenia Mercer is capable of. The question is whether he's capable of stopping her. Have you ever had someone you trusted completely turn out to be the villain of your story? Someone whose love felt real until you realized it was just control, wearing a mask. If this story is hitting different for you, if you're seeing people you know in these characters, drop a comment. Tell me who Eugenia reminds you of. Because this kind of manipulation isn't fiction for everyone watching. Eugenia Mercer stands behind a podium bristling with microphones, her Chanel suit immaculate, her silver hair swept into a perfect chignon. Tears glisten in her eyes. Her voice trembles with precisely calibrated emotion. My son left his wedding today in a state of psychological distress. The words pour from the television mounted in the hospital waiting room where Grayson stands frozen, Sterling beside him. He has been manipulated by a disturbed woman who has been stalking our family for years. A woman who, I'm heartbroken to say, we once welcomed into our home as his wife. Eugenia dabs at her eyes with a handkerchief. Shanice Dupree saw an opportunity to trap my son using an illegitimate pregnancy claim. She timed her so-called emergency to coincide with his wedding, knowing it would cause maximum chaos and humiliation. Sterling's hand closes on Grayson's shoulder. Don't. She's lying. On national television, she's lying about the mother of my children. I know. But this isn't the place to... It I am here today to ask for privacy during this difficult time. Eugenia's voice breaks perfectly, and to announce that I will be seeking legal protection for my son, who I believe is not in his right mind. She looks directly into the camera. Grayson, sweetheart, if you're watching this, please come home. We can fix this together, as a family. The broadcast cuts to pundits already spinning narratives. Gold digger, baby trap, scandal of the decade. Grayson's phone explodes with notifications. Texts from board members demanding explanations. Emails from lawyers using words like crisis management and reputation recovery. Messages from people he thought were friends asking if it's true. Is the pregnancy even real? What was he thinking? Sterling reads over his shoulder. The Ashworths are demanding a public apology. Your mother's lawyers have already filed an emergency motion for a psychological evaluation. And he trails off. And what? Penelope gave an interview. Says she's devastated, but standing by your mother. Says she believes you've been psychologically manipulated and she's willing to wait for you to come to your senses. Grayson laughs. The sound is hollow, broken. So my mother has already turned the entire world against me. Not the entire world. Sterling meets his eyes. I'm here. I believe you. And I have access to files she doesn't know I can access. Something shifts in the air. What files? When you asked me to look into the company finances 6 months ago, remember? You thought something was off with the quarterly reports. You said it was nothing. I lied. Sterling's voice drops. I found irregularities, Grayson. Big ones. But your mother's people started sniffing around, asking questions about what I was looking at, and I got scared. I buried what I found. He pulls out his phone. But I didn't delete it. It's encrypted, hidden on a server she doesn't know about. And if what Malcolm told you is true, if there are payments to pharmaceutical companies and offshore accounts and all the rest, he lets the sentence hang. Then what you have might connect to what Shanice has. It might be enough to bring the whole thing down. Grayson stares at his best friend. This man who has known him since boarding school, who stood beside him at his first wedding and would have stood beside him at his second, who has watched Eugenia Mercer operate for 20 years and never said a word. Why didn't you tell me before? Because I was a coward. Sterling doesn't look away. Because your mother terrifies me. Because I've seen what happens to people who cross her. What happens to them? Sterling's jaw tightens. They disappear. From jobs. From industries. Sometimes. From life entirely. There was a journalist 5 years ago, digging into Mercer Financial. Found something she shouldn't have. 3 weeks later, single-car accident on a mountain road. No witnesses. The words settle like stones. I'm not saying your mother killed her. I'm saying I don't know that she didn't. And that uncertainty has kept me quiet for 5 years. Grayson looks back at the television, where pundits continue to shred Shanice's reputation based on nothing but Eugenia's tears. His mother is a monster. He has always known this, somewhere beneath the surface. Has always felt the wrongness in her perfectly controlled smile. The danger in her measured words, the threat beneath every maternal gesture. But he buried that knowledge, chose not to see, chose his inheritance over his instincts. And now the woman he loved is lying in a hospital bed. His children are in the NICU, and his mother is waging a public war against all of them. Sterling, yeah? I need you to pull everything you found, cross-reference it with whatever Shanice has, and find someone at a major outlet who isn't on my mother's payroll. Sterling's eyebrows rise. You're going to war with her? No. Grayson's voice hardens into something he doesn't recognize. She went to war with me the day she destroyed my marriage. I'm just finally showing up to fight. He turns toward the elevators. Where are you going? To tell Shanice what's happening. To meet my children properly. To start figuring out how to protect them from the woman who gave me life. He pauses at the elevator doors. And Sterling, find out everything you can about my father's death. The real story, not the obituary version. Sterling nods. Consider it done. The elevator doors open. Grayson steps inside. Just before they close, Sterling calls out, "Gray, whatever happens next, whatever your mother throws at us, I'm with you, all the way." The doors slide shut. Grayson rides up to the fourth floor, his reflection fractured in the brushed steel. He doesn't recognize the man staring back at him. That man looks like someone who is finally waking up from a 30-year sleep, someone who is about to learn exactly how high the cost of truth can climb. His phone buzzes one more time. His mother's number. He answers. "Grayson, darling, I assume you've seen my statement." "I have." "Then you understand the position you're in. Come home. End this foolishness. That woman and her babies can be handled quietly, and we can all move forward." Handled. The word tastes like poison. Like you handled Dad? Silence. For 3 seconds, the line is completely still. Then his mother's voice returns, colder than he's ever heard it. "You have 24 hours to come to your senses. After that, I stop being your mother." "And start being what?" "Your enemy." The line goes dead. Grayson stands in the hospital corridor, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the smell of antiseptic burning his nostrils. 24 hours. The countdown has begun. If you've ever had to choose between the family you were born into and the family you're building, you know exactly how heavy this moment is. The old loyalties pulling one direction, the new love pulling another. And somewhere in the middle, you standing alone, trying to figure out who you really are. That's where Grayson is right now. 24 hours to decide. 24 hours before his own mother becomes his enemy. And those twins in the NICU, they're counting on him to make the right choice. Subscribe now if you haven't already, because the next chapter changes everything. And if you're not here when it drops, you're going to miss the moment this story explodes. What do you think Grayson should do? Run? Fight? Surrender? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. Can you imagine the back and forth? Let's continue. Shanice's hospital room feels smaller, with a weight of secrets pressing against the walls. She sits upright now, stronger than yesterday, her eyes tracking Grayson as he paces near the window. The morning sun cuts sharp angles across the linoleum floor. Outside, Newark wakes up to another ordinary day, while inside this room, two people navigate the wreckage of everything they thought they knew. She gave you 24 hours. 23 now. Grayson stops pacing, turns to face her. And she's already started. The press conference was just the opening shot. Shanice's jaw tightens. She watched the broadcast on her phone while he was gone. Watched Eugenia Mercer paint her as a predator, a gold digger, a mentally unstable woman who manufactured a pregnancy crisis to destroy a perfect wedding. The comments section was worse. Thousands of strangers calling her names, questioning whether the twins were even Grayson's, suggesting she should be investigated for fraud. 3 years of hiding, 3 years of building a quiet life, gone in 15 minutes of televised lies. "I need to show you something." Shanice reaches for her phone on the bedside table. Her fingers move across the screen. "This is why your mother needed me gone. This is what I found." She hands him the phone. On the screen, a series of documents, bank statements, wire transfers, account numbers from institutions in the Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Singapore. "I was organizing your father's old files. About 6 months into the pregnancy, you'd asked me to help digitize some family records. Remember? Before everything fell apart." Grayson remembers. It was one of the last peaceful weeks of their marriage. "I found a folder he'd hidden. Physical documents stuffed inside a book on the third shelf of his study. Like he knew someone might come looking digitally, but wouldn't think to check the old-fashioned way." Grayson scrolls through the images. "These accounts don't appear on any Mercer financial reports I've ever seen. Because they're not supposed to exist." Shanice's voice drops. "Your father was tracking them. He'd made notes in the margins. Dates. Names. Transaction patterns. He was building a case. A case against who? Against your mother. Against the entire board, actually. but mostly against Eugenia. Grayson looks up from the phone. She's been laundering money for years, decades, maybe. Moving funds through shell companies, cleaning it, sending it back into legitimate channels. Your father figured it out, and based on his notes, he was about to blow it all open. 3 weeks before he died. 3 weeks before he died. The words hang in the air like smoke. Grayson hands back the phone. His hands are steady, but something behind his eyes has shifted, hardened. There's more. Shanice pulls up another file. This is the part that kept me up at night. The part that made me run instead of fight. A pharmaceutical company receipt fills the screen. Northwood Biomedical Solutions. A payment of $400,000, dated 3 days before Theodore Mercer's fatal heart attack. I looked them up. Northwood specializes in compounds used in cardiac research, including drugs that can trigger heart attacks in patients with certain pre-existing conditions. My father had a minor arrhythmia, diagnosed 10 years ago. I know. It's in his medical records, records your mother would have had access to. Grayson's face goes pale beneath the fluorescent lights. You're telling me my mother had my father killed, using a drug designed to exploit a medical condition she knew about. I'm telling you the evidence points that direction. Shanice's voice stays clinical, detached. The only way she can get through this without breaking. I'm telling you that when I showed this to your mother, when I told her I was going to tell you everything, she didn't deny it. What did she say? Shanice closes her eyes. The memory plays behind her lids like a horror movie she can't stop watching. She said, Theodore was weak. He couldn't see the bigger picture. Some people don't have the stomach for what success requires. Her eyes open. Then she said, I'd hate to see my son develop the same weakness, especially now that he's found someone who might encourage his more sentimental impulses. The room falls silent, except for the beeping monitors. She threatened you. She promised me. Shanice's voice finally cracks. She promised that if I ever told you, if I ever went public, she would destroy me so completely that my own mother wouldn't recognize me. And then she'd make sure you never believed a word I said anyway. A tear escapes down her cheek. She wipes it away with the back of her hand. So when those photographs appeared 2 weeks later, I knew I was beaten. She'd already set the trap. The affair story was her insurance policy. Make me look like a cheating wife, and nothing I said about murder would ever stick. Grayson crosses the room, sits on the edge of her bed, takes her hand. She flinches, but doesn't pull away. I'm sorry. You keep saying that. Because I keep meaning it. His thumb traces circles on her palm. I believed her. I chose her lies over your truth, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make that right. Shanice looks at their joined hands, his skin against hers, the familiar warmth that her body remembers even when her mind screams warnings. I took Malcolm's money. The confession spills out before she can stop it. $50,000. To relocate, to hide, to keep the twins safe from investigators your mother sent looking for me. I know, Malcolm told me. And you're not angry? I'm furious. His grip tightens on her hand, but not at you, at her, at myself. At every single choice I made that put you in a position where taking money from another man felt like your only option. His eyes meet hers. You survived. You protected our children. You did what I should have done 3 years ago. You stood up to her when I was too blind and too weak to see what she really was. Something shifts in Shanice's chest. A wall that's been standing for 3 years develops its first crack. I don't trust you. I know. I might never trust you again. I know that too. But she exhales slowly. We have a common enemy now. And those babies down the hall deserve parents who can work together long enough to keep them safe. Grayson nods. So here's what's going to happen. Shanice's voice firms up, becomes the voice of the trauma nurse, who makes life or death decisions every shift. We combine what I have with what Sterling found. We find a journalist who isn't afraid of your mother. and we burn her empire to the ground before she can do the same to us. And if she comes for us first? Shanice looks toward the window, toward the ordinary Newark morning that has no idea what's brewing inside this hospital room. Then we make sure she regrets it. Her phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. She reads it. Her face goes gray. What is it? Shanice turns the phone toward him. The message contains a single photograph, 2 tiny babies in NICU incubators, his son, his daughter, photographed through the nursery glass. Beneath the image, 5 words that turn Grayson's blood to ice. Such beautiful grandchildren. Be careful. Your mother just sent a threat using pictures of your newborn children. What do you do? What can you do when the monster has more money, more power, and more connections than you could build in 10 lifetimes? That's the question Grayson faces right now. And the clock is ticking. If you're watching this and your heart is pounding the way mine is, drop a comment. Tell me what you'd do if someone threatened your babies. Because this story just became personal for everyone with children they die to protect. The Greenwich estate rises against the Connecticut sky, like a monument to old money and older secrets. Grayson's rental car crunches up the gravel driveway. He left the Bentley at the hospital. Didn't want anything of hers touching this moment. The front door opens before he reaches it. Eugenia Mercer stands in the entrance wearing cream, silk, and pearls, her silver hair perfect, her smile warm and welcoming, and completely empty. Darling, you came home. We need to talk. Of course we do. She steps aside, gesturing him in. I've had Martha prepare your favorite, lemon pound cake. You always loved it as a boy. The library smells like his childhood. Leather books, polished wood, the ghost of his father's cologne that somehow still lingers after all these years. Theodore's chair sits empty by the fireplace, the chair Eugenia claimed the day after the funeral and never gave up. She settles into it now, crossing her legs, folding her hands in her lap like a queen receiving a subject. So, you've spoken with that woman, with Malcolm. Her voice drips with manufactured concern. I can only imagine what lies they've filled your head with. They showed me proof. Proof. She laughs softly. Grayson, sweetheart, proof is whatever you pay enough people to believe. I thought I taught you that. The offshore accounts, the payments to Northwood Biomedical, Dad's notes about what he found. Eugenia's expression doesn't change, but something in her eyes goes very still. Your father was a complicated man. He had theories about many things, most of them wrong. He was going to expose you. He was going to destroy everything we built. Her voice sharpens, drops the maternal warmth like a mask that no longer serves its purpose. 50 years of work, 3 generations of sacrifice. And Theodore wanted to throw it all away because he suddenly grew a conscience at 62 years old. She rises from the chair, crosses to the bar cart, pours 2 fingers of bourbon into a crystal glass. Do you know what happens when a company like ours faces that kind of exposure? Jobs vanish, pensions evaporate. Families who have worked for us for generations find themselves with nothing. She turns to face him. I did what needed to be done. To protect the company. To protect you. To preserve everything your grandfather built from nothing. Grayson feels the floor shift beneath him. You're admitting it. You killed him. I'm admitting nothing. She sips her bourbon. I'm simply explaining that your father was a weak man who let sentiment cloud his judgment. And weak men create problems that stronger people must solve. She sets down the glass. You have so much of him in you, Grayson. I've always worried about that. The softness, the tendency toward emotion over reason. That woman exploited those weaknesses. She made you feel things that compromised your judgment. Shanice was the best thing that ever happened to me. Shanice was a distraction from your destiny. Eugenia's voice hardens. A pretty face from the wrong side of the tracks who saw an opportunity and took it. The pregnancy is just another manipulation. Those children are leverage, nothing more. Those children are my son and daughter. Those children are complications. She steps closer. Her perfume fills his nostrils. The same scent she's worn his entire life. The smell of home that now smells like danger. Complications that can be handled quietly. Settlements. Custody arrangements. The right lawyers can make them disappear from your public life entirely. I don't want them to disappear. Eugenia studies him for a long moment. Something shifts behind her eyes. The warmth drains away entirely, leaving only calculation. Then you're choosing her over your family. I'm choosing them over you. There's a difference. The slap comes fast, hard. Her palm cracks across his cheek before he can react. Everything I've done has been for you. Her voice trembles, not with emotion, with rage. Every sacrifice, every difficult decision, every person who had to be removed from the board, all of it was to ensure you inherited an empire worthy of your potential. She grabs his face, forces him to look at her. And you would throw it all away for some nurse from Newark and 2 babies that might not even be yours? Grayson removes her hands from his face, steps back. They are mine. I had a DNA test run this morning. The lie comes easily. He hasn't had time for a test, but he watches her face for the reaction. There it is. A flicker of fear. If those results go public, if anyone connects those children to the Mercer name before we control the narrative, the damage will be catastrophic. The damage was catastrophic 3 years ago, when you destroyed my marriage. I saved you from an unsuitable attachment. You stole the only happiness I've ever known. Silence falls between them. Mother and son, standing in the library where Grayson learned to read, where Theodore taught him chess, where the family gathered every Christmas until death and divorce scattered them to the winds. Eugenia speaks first. You have until Sunday to come to your senses, to return to the fold, to accept that what's done is done and we must move forward as a family. And if I don't? Her smile returns. But this time it doesn't pretend to be warm. Then I stop being your mother and start being your opponent. She walks past him toward the door. And darling, you really don't want that. You've seen what happens to people who oppose me. She pauses at the doorway. Your father learned that lesson too late. I'd hate for history to repeat itself. The door closes behind her. Grayson stands alone in the library, his cheek still stinging, his heart pounding against his ribs. She didn't deny it. Didn't even try to pretend. His mother killed his father and just admitted it to his face. The countdown clock echoes in his skull. Until Sunday. 72 hours. To figure out how to bring down a woman who has been winning wars since before he was born. His phone buzzes. Sterling, I found something. The journalist who died in that car accident 5 years ago, she had a sister, also a journalist. And she's been waiting for someone to help her finish what her sister started. Grayson exhales. Set up a meeting. Already done. Her name is Vivian Okafor. New York Times. She can meet tomorrow. Good. He hangs up. Looks around the library one last time. This room where he grew up, this room where his father died 3 weeks after standing where Grayson stands now, probably asking the same questions, probably feeling the same cold certainty that the woman he married was capable of anything. Theodore lost that battle. Grayson doesn't intend to lose his. Your own mother just admitted to killing your father. Admitted it without shame, without remorse, like discussing the weather. And now she's given you 3 days to surrender before she turns her machine against you. What do you do with that information? How do you fight someone who treats murder like a business decision? If you think you know what comes next, comment below. But I promise you, you're not ready for where this story goes. The hospital parking garage echoes with their raised voices. Shanice stands beside Malcolm's car, the twins secured in their carriers in the back seat. Her body positions itself like a shield between Grayson and everything she's spent 3 years protecting. You went to see her alone, without telling me. I needed to know. You needed to play hero. Her voice cut sharp. Same as always, making decisions that affect both of us, without bothering to ask what I think. She threatened our children. I wasn't going to wait for a committee meeting. So you walked into her house, her territory, where she has every advantage. Shanice's hands shake at her sides. Do you have any idea how stupid that was? She could have had you declared mentally incompetent on the spot. Could have had security detain you while her lawyers filed emergency motions. But she didn't, because she's playing a longer game. Shanice's voice rises, bounces off concrete walls. That's what you don't understand about your mother. She doesn't make moves she hasn't planned 3 steps ahead. If she let you walk out of that house, it's because letting you walk out serves her purpose. Grayson runs his hands through his hair. Then help me understand. Help me figure out what she's planning so we can get ahead of it. I've been trying to help you for 3 years. The words explode from her chest like shrapnel. I tried to help you when I found those documents. I tried to help you by telling you what your mother really was, and you called me a liar and threw me away. The accusation lands like a physical blow. I know. Do you? Do you really? She steps closer. Close enough that he can see the tears she's fighting to hold back. Because I don't think you understand what it feels like to love someone completely, to offer them the truth, and watch them choose the lie instead. Shanice, I would have died for you. Her voice breaks. That's not an exaggeration. That's not romance novel nonsense. I would have walked through fire for you, Grayson. And you believed your mother's photographs over 2 years of me loving you with everything I had. The tears stream down her cheeks. So don't stand here and act like we're partners now. Don't pretend that a few days of crisis erases everything you did, because I carried those babies alone. I went through labor alone. I almost died alone on that operating table while you were standing at another woman's altar. Grayson doesn't defend himself, doesn't argue, doesn't make excuses. He simply stands there, absorbing every word like the punishment he deserves. You're right. I know I'm right. About all of it. I failed you in ways I can never fully make right. I chose comfort over courage. I let my mother's voice drown out everything my heart was telling me. He steps closer, not touching her, just closing the distance. But I'm here now. And I know that doesn't erase the past. I know trust has to be rebuilt, one small action at a time. I know I have no right to ask anything of you. His voice drops. But those babies in that car are mine too. And the woman who threatened them killed my father. So whatever anger you're carrying toward me, whatever you need to say to make yourself feel heard, say it. I can take it. But when you're done, we have to focus. Because the clock is ticking, and she's already moving against us. Shanice stares at him. The parking garage hums with fluorescent lights and distant traffic. For a long moment, neither speaks. Then something in her posture shifts. The rigid anger softens slightly. Not forgiveness, nothing close. But maybe the recognition that survival requires putting some things aside. Malcolm has a sister in Harlem. She has a brownstone we can use. Off the grid. No connection to you or the company. Okay, you can come, but you stay on the couch. You don't make decisions without consulting me. And the second you do something stupid like confronting your mother alone again, I'm gone. With the twins. And you'll never find us. I understand. I mean it, Grayson. I know you do. She holds his gaze for another moment, searching for something. Deception, maybe. The old patterns of behavior that made him easy to manipulate. Whatever she sees makes her exhale slowly. Get in the car. He moves toward the passenger side. Grayson. He stops. That woman has killed at least one person that we know of. Probably more. She doesn't see human beings. She sees obstacles and assets. Shanice's voice hardens. If we're going to beat her, you have to understand something. She's not your mother anymore. That person never existed. What she is a predator wearing a familiar face. I know. Do you? Because when you looked at her today, part of you still hoped she'd explain it away. Still hoped the mother you thought you had was hiding somewhere beneath the surface. He doesn't deny it. That hope will get us killed. Shanice opens the driver's door. Let it die. The sooner you grieve the mother you thought you had, the sooner you can fight the one who actually exists. She gets in the car. Grayson stands in the parking garage for a moment longer. She's right. About everything. The mother he thought he knew, the one who made lemon pound cake and cheered at his lacrosse games and told him he could be anything he wanted, that mother was always a performance. The real Eugenia Mercer has been hiding in plain sight his entire life, and he was too desperate for her love to see it. He gets in the car. Malcolm pulls out of the parking structure, and somewhere behind them, in a hospital room they just vacated, a man in scrubs makes a phone call. They just left, heading north. I'll have an address within the hour. On the other end of the line, Eugenia Mercer smiles. Perfect. Keep me informed. She hangs up, looks out the window of her Greenwich study. 3 days is such a long time. So many things can happen in 3 days. Have you ever had to completely let go of who you thought someone was? Had to watch the person you loved morph into a stranger wearing their face? That's where Grayson stands right now, grieving a mother who never existed while trying to survive the one who does. If this story is making you think about the masks people wear, about the lies families tell, drop a comment. Tell me about the moment you saw someone clearly for the first time. Because we've all been there. And sharing helps. The Harlem brownstone smells like cinnamon and old wood. Denise Jeffries, Malcolm's sister, welcomes them with warm arms and zero patience for drama. She's tall like her brother, with natural hair twisted into intricate patterns and eyes that assess everything without judgment. Babies go in the back bedroom. I've got bassinets set up. Adults sort themselves out. Kitchen's stocked. Don't touch my cast iron skillets without permission. She points at Grayson. You. Couch. Sheets in the hall closet. Yes, ma'am. Don't ma'am me. I'm 38. But a smile flickers at the corner of her mouth. Malcolm says you're not as useless as you look. We'll see. She disappears into the back of the brownstone, leaving them to settle in. The twins sleep through the transition, too young to understand that their lives have become a game of chess, played by adults with nuclear weapons. Shanice carries them to the bedroom one at a time, watches their chests rise and fall, touches their cheeks with fingers that still tremble from everything this week has demanded. Hey. Grayson appears in the doorway, keeps his distance. Denise made coffee if you want some. In a minute. He watches her watching them. What are their names? The question hangs in the air. Shanice doesn't turn around. I named the boy Theodore, after your father, because whatever your mother did to him, he didn't deserve it. And I wanted someone to remember him as more than a headline. Grayson's throat tightens. And the girl? Now she turns, meets his eyes. Viola, after your grandmother. The one who actually earned the money your mother pretends she's entitled to. His grandmother. The woman who started with nothing and built the foundation of everything the Mercers own. The woman Eugenia married into and then eclipsed. Thank you. I didn't do it for you. I did it because they deserve names that mean something. Names that remind them where they come from and what they're capable of. She brushes past him toward the kitchen. He stays in the doorway, looking at his children. Theodore and Viola, named for the dead and the forgotten, sleeping peacefully in a borrowed brownstone while their grandmother plots their destruction. The coffee is strong and bitter. They sit at Denise's kitchen table, Malcolm joining them. 4 adults, united by circumstance, against an enemy none of them can face alone. Sterling is meeting with a journalist tomorrow. Grayson's voice is low. Vivian Okafor. Her sister was the one investigating Mercer Financial 5 years ago. The one who died. I remember that case. Malcolm's face darkens. Single car accident. No witnesses. Toxicology came back clean, but something felt wrong. I was doing my residency at Columbia at the time. A few of us talked about how convenient the timing was. Vivian thinks her sister was murdered. She's been quietly building a case ever since, but she's never had enough to go public. Until now. Shanice sets down her coffee cup. Between what I have and what Sterling found, we might finally have enough. Might. Malcolm emphasizes the word. Eugenia has survived worse than document leaks. She'll claim they're fabricated, hire experts to cast doubt, bury the story in lawsuits before it can gain traction. Then, we need something that can't be buried. Grayson leans forward. Something so undeniable that her usual playbook doesn't work. Like what? Like a confession. Everyone looks at him. She admitted it to me today, in the library. She as good as confessed to killing my father. Said he was weak. Said she did what needed to be done. And you have that recorded? Grayson's silence answers the question. So it's your word against hers. Malcolm shakes his head, a grieving son making accusations against his mother in the middle of a family crisis. Her lawyers will eat you alive. Then I get her to say it again. On camera. Or with witnesses. Something that sticks. Shanice studies him across the table. You really think she'd confess again? She's arrogant. Believes she's untouchable. If I push the right buttons, if I make her angry enough, she might slip. Or she might have you committed, or arrested, or disappeared. Shanice's voice stays flat. You're not dealing with a normal person, Grayson. You're dealing with a woman who killed her own husband because he inconvenienced her. I know who I'm dealing with. Do you? She leans back in her chair. Because the man I married 3 years ago would never have believed his mother capable of this. What's changed? The question cuts deep. What has changed? The answer surfaces slowly. You left. Shanice's eyebrows rise. When you left, I had to look at why. Had to face all the choices I made that led to that moment. And the more I looked, the more wrong everything seemed. He meets her eyes. I started noticing things about my mother that I'd always ignored. The way she talks about people like they're chess pieces. The way everyone who disagrees with her eventually regrets it. The way my father changed in the months before he died, became quieter, more withdrawn, like he was carrying a weight he couldn't share. His hands wrap around his coffee cup. I think part of me has always known. I just couldn't afford to see it, because seeing it meant losing everything. My family, my inheritance, my entire sense of who I was. Shanice is quiet for a long moment. And now I have 2 children who deserve better than a legacy built on blood. He looks toward the bedroom where Theodore and Viola sleep. Now I have something worth losing everything for. The kitchen falls silent. Outside, Harlem hums with late-night traffic and distant music. Inside, 4 people sit with the weight of decisions that will reshape multiple lives. Denise breaks the silence. If you're going to take down Eugenia Mercer, you better be ready to lose everything. Because women like her don't go down alone. They drag everyone around them into the fire. I know. You say you know, but knowing and understanding are different things. She fixes him with a stare that sees through every defense. That woman will try to take your company, your reputation, your children, your freedom. And if she can't take those things, she'll try to take your life. I understand. Then you better have a plan. Because right now, all I see is a rich boy who just woke up to how the real world works. And the real world doesn't care about your good intentions. Denise stands, carries her cup to the sink. I'm going to bed. You all should do the same. Whatever happens tomorrow, you'll need your strength. She pauses at the doorway. And Grayson, if you bring danger to my door, if anything happens to my brother or those babies because of your family's mess, I will personally make sure you regret it. Rich or poor, Mercer or nobody. Are we clear? Crystal. She nods once, disappears into the back of the brownstone. Malcolm follows shortly after, leaving Grayson and Shanice alone in the kitchen. The silence stretches. She's intense. Grayson attempts a half smile. She's realistic. Shanice doesn't return the smile. Everything she said is true. Your mother will try to destroy everything we care about. And she has the resources to succeed. Then we have to be smarter, faster, more willing to fight dirty than she expects us to be. You don't know how to fight dirty. You've never had to. Everything in your life has been handed to you on platinum platters. Then teach me. Shanice studies him for a long moment. Get some sleep. We have a lot of work to do tomorrow. She rises, moves toward the bedroom. Shanice. She stops. Thank you for giving me a chance. I know I don't deserve it. She doesn't turn around. You're right. You don't. She closes the bedroom door behind her. Grayson sits alone in the kitchen, the cooling coffee in his hands, the weight of everything pressing down on his shoulders. Tomorrow they meet with a journalist who might be able to help them. Tomorrow the counterattack begins. But tonight, in this borrowed brownstone, he is simply a man trying to figure out how to save the people he loves from the woman who raised him. Somewhere in the back bedroom, his children sleep. Somewhere across the city, his mother plots. And somewhere between here and Sunday, the future will be decided. If you're still here, if you're feeling the weight of this moment the way I'm feeling it, then we're in this together. Drop a comment and tell me what you'd do in Grayson's position. Would you fight? Run? Try to reason with the unreasonable? And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? The next chapter is where everything starts to change. Don't miss it. 3 a.m. The brownstone creaks with old house sounds. Grayson lies on the couch, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. His mind races through scenarios, strategies, potential moves and countermoves. Every path leads to danger. Every choice carries consequences he can't fully calculate. A floorboard groans near the hallway. He turns his head. Shanice stands in the kitchen doorway, wearing borrowed sweatpants and an oversized t-shirt. Her hair is wrapped in a silk scarf. Her feet are bare. Can't sleep either? No. She crosses to the refrigerator, pours a glass of water. Theodore was fussy. Just got him settled. I could help with the night feedings, if you'd let me. She drinks her water, slowly, considering. Maybe, eventually. She doesn't return to the bedroom. Instead, she sits in the armchair across from the couch, tucks her feet beneath her. The silence between them is different now. Less charged with anger, still heavy with history. Can I ask you something? Grayson props himself up on one elbow. Anything. When you found out about the twins, when you were running from that wedding toward the hospital, what were you thinking? He considers the question. I wasn't thinking. Not really. My body just moved, like it knew where it needed to be, even when my brain couldn't process what was happening. You didn't think about what you were leaving behind? The guests, Penelope, your mother's reaction. None of it mattered. He sits up fully. The second I heard your name, heard that you were in danger, nothing else existed. It was like 3 years of pretending I was over you just evaporated. Shanice is quiet for a moment. I thought about calling you. So many times during the pregnancy. Late at night when the babies were kicking and I felt so alone. I would dial your number and just stare at it. Never hit send. Why not? Fear, mostly. Fear that you'd reject me again. Fear that you'd try to take them from me. Fear that your mother would find out and make good on her threats. She looks toward the window, where streetlight filters through thin curtains. But there was something else too. Pride. Stubbornness. Some part of me that wanted to prove I could do it without you. That I didn't need Mercer money or Mercer connections or Mercer anything to raise healthy, happy children. You could have. You would have. Maybe. She turns back to him. But they would have always had questions about their father, about why he wasn't there, about whether he ever wanted them. I want them. God, Shanice, I want them so much it hurts. I know. Her voice softens. I see it when you look at them. When you held Viola in the NICU, you had this expression on your face, like you'd just discovered what joy actually meant. That's exactly what it felt like. Another silence. But this one is warmer. I used to imagine what it would be like if you came back. Shanice's voice drops to nearly a whisper. Not because I wanted it, or at least not because I'd admit to wanting it. But the fantasy would creep in anyway. You showing up at my door, apologizing, actually hearing me this time. I should have come sooner. You couldn't have known. I should have known you wouldn't cheat. Should have trusted what we built together more than manufactured evidence. Should have been the man you needed, instead of the son my mother wanted. She unfolds from the chair, crosses the room, sits on the edge of the couch near his feet. I'm not ready to forgive you. I'm not asking you to. But I think, she pauses, chooses her words carefully. I think I might be ready to stop punishing you, at least long enough to get through this. He reaches out. His fingers brush her ankle. Rest there. She doesn't pull away. I'll take whatever you're willing to give. Don't do that. Do what? Be too perfect. Too understanding. Too ready to accept whatever scraps I throw you. Her voice carries an edge. The man I fell in love with had fire in him, had opinions, pushed back when I was being unreasonable. You're not being unreasonable. I'm being cautious. And caution is healthy. But eventually, I need you to be a partner again, not a supplicant, not a man groveling for forgiveness. An actual equal who helps me make decisions and challenges me when I'm wrong. Okay? Promise me. I promise. She studies his face in the dim light. Whatever she sees makes her exhale slowly. When this is over, when your mother is dealt with and the children are safe, we're going to need to have a real conversation about what happens next. About whether there's anything left to build on or whether we're better off as co-parents who maintain separate lives. And right now, she stands. Right now, I'm going to try to get a few more hours of sleep before Viola wakes up hungry. And you should do the same. You. And in now. When now. Remember, Viola. When now. You should do the same. She moves toward the bedroom. Shanice. She stops. He rises from the couch, crosses the room, stands close enough to feel the warmth radiating from her skin but not touching. Whatever we become, whatever you decide about us, I need you to know something. What? I never stopped loving you. Not for a single day of the last 3 years. The wedding to Penelope, the engagement, all of it. It was me trying to outrun a ghost. But you can't outrun something that lives in your chest. Her breath catches. Grayson, I'm not asking for anything. Not trying to pressure you or make this harder than it already is. I just need you to know that walking away from that altar wasn't a moment of madness. It was the sanest thing I've done since the night I let you walk out of our apartment. She looks up at him. Her eyes glisten. For one suspended moment, the history between them falls away. They're just two people standing in the dark, carrying 3 years of pain and longing and unfinished business. Her hand rises, cups his jaw, thumb brushing against the stubble he hasn't had time to shave. You hurt me so badly. I know. And part of me wants to hurt you back, to make you feel even a fraction of what I felt. If that's what you need. No. Her voice firms. That's not who I want to be. Not who I want to teach our children to be. She rises on her toes, presses her lips to his cheek, lets them linger there for 3 heartbeats. Then she steps back. Good night, Grayson. She disappears into the bedroom. He stands in the hallway, hand touching the spot where her lips just were, heart pounding against his ribs. It's not forgiveness, not reconciliation, not even a promise, but it's something. And right now, something feels like everything. His phone buzzes on the couch. Sterling's name on the screen. A text. Meeting with Vivian confirmed. Tomorrow, noon, Brooklyn coffee shop. And Gray? Be careful. Your mother's people have been asking questions around the office. They know we're up to something. Grayson types back. Good. Let them wonder. He sets down the phone, lies back on the couch. For the first time in 3 years, he closes his eyes knowing exactly what he's fighting for. That kiss on the cheek. That moment of almost forgiveness. That woman and those children sleeping just rooms away. Whatever it takes, whatever he has to sacrifice, he's going to win this war. They shared a moment. After everything that's happened, after all the betrayal and heartbreak and lies, they shared a real moment. But Eugenia is already closing in. Her people are asking questions. The clock is still ticking. If you've ever been in that space between hope and fear, where something beautiful might be growing but danger is right around the corner, you know exactly how this feels. Comment and tell me, do you think they have a real chance? Or is the pain too deep? The enemy too powerful? And subscribe now, because tomorrow is when the fight truly begins. Don't miss what happens next.